Bonjour everyone, Pantoufleee here today for a new video in which we're going to take a look at the new trailer Wargaming just dropped for the 9.4 update, and I'm going to give you my exact feeling about how the game is going, because in my opinion this trailer shows that it's going pretty badly. So let's jump straight away with what we were waiting for, or what a couple of players were waiting for. We finally have access to the mighty new line that will lead you to the Minotauro, an Italian tank destroyer, a tier 10 one that is equipped with an autoloader. The cool factor about this branch is that it starts at tier 5, which means that Wargaming is not as lazy as they used to be for other tanks like the Kranwagen or even the 60TP, because we get a full branch of tanks to grind from. There is, after a little presentation of every single one of those little tanks that we're not going to talk about in this video, we are going to focus more on the top tier tank, the Minotauro. So let's wait, tier 9 showcased, and bang, there we go. You see that Wargaming already cooked a legendary camo for the Minotauro because it's equipped with rocket launchers. Is this little part here going to be used as spaced armor? No, I want to remind you that everything that is linked to attachments on a tank is not counted on the armor profile. But the cool thing is that on the aesthetic aspect, it's going to launch some rockets every time you kill someone. And here is the presentation of the tank, and here is specifically what really pissed me off. On one hand, it's really great for Wargaming to put such an advertisement on their video, because it's basically explaining to you what you're supposed to do with the Minotauro. Tank is balanced for effective play with 2 shells, which reloads quickly. Use the 3rd shell as a reserve if necessary. Basically, Wargaming is telling you, you have 3 shells on the magazine, use 2, and only the last one in emergency if you need to. Of course, on this aspect, it's really cool because Wargaming is finally taking care of their player base and trying to improve the overall gameplay. But at the same time, the main problem is that they are trying to sell it, or at least it seems like they are selling it as a new great mechanism. It's not a mechanism, it's just a slow autoloader, something that we had access to multiple times in this game with the AMX-50B, with many other tanks in this game. And that is something featured on the auto-reloading mechanism that we have access to on, for example, the Progetto 65. So in definitive, they are trying to pass that as something revolutionary, whereas it's just something we already saw. Now it's followed by some cool stuff, specifically on the T125, because it seems like the PBR model of the tank is going to redesign the little cupola. Is it going to be enough to make the T125 relevant again? I don't think so, because that thing clearly needs a buff. And on the other hand, it seems like they lowered a little bit the size of the M48 pattern while adding a brand new cupola. A cupola that seems to be easily penetrable compared to the previous one. And they finish with what seems to be either a legendary camo for the WT Alf Panzer IV or a brand new WT Alf Panzer IV, because I want to remind you that you are waiting for clan wars, not clan wars, but clan rewards like we had with the 50TP. 50TP, that was a tier 9 Polish heavy tank that was given away during an event. So is it going to be a legendary camo, or are we taking a look at the next brand new premium tank? Who knows? I feel like Blitz is not dying, but they are getting less interested and less interesting about their game. Let me take a few examples. Not so long ago, 1 or 2 years ago actually, which is not that much considering that the game is now 7 or 8 years old, we had many features, new mechanisms that were popping out right around the corner, things that could really effectively change the gameplay, the apparition of auto-reloaders, and many other stuffs that really made the game enjoyable because we had access to a new mechanism, plenty of videos to do, etc, etc. They also improved greatly the camera for replays, etc, which is a good thing. But nowadays, it just feels like they are producing new lines like we are in a factory. Like they're just popping out new lines without really any spirits, without something that makes you stick to the game. Maybe it's only my opinion, and maybe it's only a point of view, because after all, you don't necessarily have to agree with me. But I feel like Blitz is lacking something when compared, for example, with Tank Company that just got out. And no, it's not sponsored by Tank Company in any ways or anything like that. But at least in Tank Company, we have access to Clan Wars, things like that. Things that World of Tank Blitz could have added for at least 8 years. And We are just waiting in hope for them to do the big changes that we are hoping for. Clan Wars, reward for Clan Wars, Fortress mode, things like that. Just being able to create a new game mode that could sustain at least 2 or 3 years by itself. And they don't even need to search for too long. You just have to copy what World of Tanks PC is doing in terms of different games, in terms of different mechanisms, and that's it. Double-barreled that are in development, if I'm not mistaken, as we speak for World of Tanks Blitz. Wheeled vehicles, I know it's going to be probably cancerous for most of you, but if it's equilibrated perfectly, there shouldn't be any problems, and things like that. And no, instead we have what is sold as a brand new mechanism tank, the Minotauro, whereas it's just a Foch 155 with a bigger reload. I don't know what else to tell you guys. It just, I don't know, the passion for the game seems to be dying because of those updates that are not making sense, at least in my opinion. Tell me in the comments, what do you think? Do you agree with me? Do you disagree? I feel like it's an important subject to talk about, and I'm probably going to do a whole video talking about that, and another one in which we could analyze every single updates that Wargaming brought us the last couple of years, to compare it with the current years, to see if yes or no they are getting lazy. Of course, we got to take into consideration the war in Ukraine, which is definitely not helping Wargaming's business. And yeah, that's a shame, but it just feels like the game is being too repetitive, and just releasing a couple of premiums every 2 or 3 days is definitely not gonna help your case for gaming. But anyway, I'm gonna leave you here, boys, because it starts being a little bit late here and I need to cook for my girlfriend. So I'm gonna leave you here, and hopefully I'm gonna see you soon for a new video. And I want to remind you that I will be able to stream, I should be able to stream in December. I know it's quite a long time, but unfortunately I don't have access to optic fiber yet, and I have to wait. You know how it is. See ya.